Welcome to the Dark Waters channel, where the depths of mystery and the heights of imagination meet under the shadowy waves of the unknown. Today, we're stirring the pot of tales not with a spoon, but with the artful touch of a master baker, as we welcome the extraordinary Carol Ann from the INBETWEEN. Carol Ann, a connoisseur of the art of storytelling, kneads together stories that rise in the warmth of intrigue and curiosity. From the dense forests haunted by the elusive bigfoot to the dark corners of the world where Dogman lurks. From the vast starry skies frequented by aliens to the comforting warmth of a kitchen where the Great British Bake Off unfolds. Carol serves up a platter of narratives as diverse and delightful as a British high tea. In today's interview, we'll sift through the flower of folklore, add a pinch of the paranormal, and glaze our conversation with the sweetness of storytelling, all while Carol shares her ingredients for captivating tales. It's an episode baked to perfection, combining the savory with the supernatural, the eerie with the endearing. Join us as we indulge in tales that are as varied and rich as the layers of a classic British Victoria sponge cake. Light, airy, but with a depth of flavor that keeps you coming back for more. Carol Ann is here to share her recipe for stories that captivate, chill, and charm, all in equal measure. Prepare your palate for an interview that's a feast for the soul, right here on the Dark Waters channel. Let's dive in.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? One and only James Williams, Dark Waters, and I'm back with another phenomenal interview. Today, I have Carol Ann with me from the INBETWEEN. And I'm going to tell you something, guys. I'm excited about talking to this woman. I've been watching her content for quite a while. And I personally believe that she's going to be one of the YouTube paranormal superstars in the near future. I told you guys about Tony Merkel being super duper star way a long time ago, because Tony has that it factor. She has that same it factor. And I'm very happy to have her hanging out with me right here, right now, down from New Orleans, Louisiana. And without any further ado, I bring you Carol Ann. Hey, love, how are you doing today?
I am awesome. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm great. I got a little bit of a cigar nub left. Today has been a wonderful day. I've been recording all day. Things are going extremely well for me. It's Mardi Gras down here, and it's kind of quiet right now. I give it like another hour where I'm at. It's going to be super noisy. You're going to hear people dragging wagons with their children in it and everything else, but it is fantastic. I'm happy that you've taken time to join me. And let us begin our interview.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for having me, by the way. I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. I've been watching you for a long time. Like this lady's dope. This is going to be the bomb. She's going to be the bomb. I like to start the question off with this. Everybody who has an interest in the quote unquote paranormal or supernatural or cryptids, however people want to define it, because it's fluid, it starts somewhere. Where did your interest start? Was it as an adult? Was it as a child? Where did it kick off at for you?
It was as a kid. I vividly remember Saturday nights. I mean, I was one of 4 kids. Saturday nights, my mom just took off. So we were all to fend for ourselves for dinner. And my brother and I would make ourselves something for dinner, and we would sit down right in front of the TV. And it was, and I'm going to date myself here, In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy. So It was Bigfoot and UFOs and psychic abilities. And we watched that show religiously for its entire span, however long that lasted. And that, I think, is what kicked it off. And then I think the second factor is when I was 13, I read the Amityville Horror. And the fact that it was a true story just made it that much more terrifying. And from then on, I mean, anything that was true, it had to be true. The ghost stories, the demon stories, the cryptid stories, any of that has just always percoled in the back of my imagination. And so when it came to finding, an outlet for that, we were like, well, let's make a YouTube channel. So now I have a YouTube channel where I can tell the stories that just fascinate me.
I tell you, there's something about storytelling. I've always loved telling stories. It's an art form. Like I've learned storytelling from this perspective. I learned it from my mentor, a guy named Joe Baker. when I was very, very young. He said, man, if you want to tell somebody something and you want to put them straight, tell them in a story because they can't get offended by a story. And it will be anytime there's a difficult situation, James, you need to tell somebody something, tell it to them in story format. And I remember over the years, hanging out with people, having drinks, having champagne, doing some of the wildest things you could ever imagine. Anytime I wanted to relay something, I never just told them flat out. I would just tell them a story. Whether it was a threat, it didn't matter what it was. It was a story. And be like, bada bing, bada boom, this is this, bam. And it would always get the message across to people and it always relayed the message. And I just fell in love with telling stories. For me personally, it didn't matter if it was paranormal. It doesn't really matter. I think there's an art to it. And you're fantastic at it. I want you to know this. You're absolutely fantastic at it. You really, really are. Now, how long ago did you guys officially start this particular channel?
It would be it was a year ago, July. So we're almost up to 2 years.
That's pretty good. You guys are moving along pretty fast for 2 years. That's awesome. And so you guys touch on every type of story there is what I'm seeing. You touch on Dogman, touch on other cryptids, you touch on true crime stories, you touch on real ghost stories, you touch on like manuscripts. I mean, you guys touch on everything. How did you get to the point to where you decided you wanted to just have that broad stroke of content that you created?
I think because what fascinates me is a broad stroke. I mean, anything that's just weird and strange and mysterious, be it the manuscript that nobody can, I how many years later can't decipher, or I don't know, one that I have in my head that I still have to do is the story of Travis Walton and his UFO abduction. Anything that's just weird, it's like, I have to like get it out there. I mean, not that people haven't heard of Travis Walton before, but I don't know. I just want to talk about the things that fascinate me. And it's a pretty broad range of things that fascinate me.
No, I'm with you. And they haven't heard your perspective on what happened to Travis Walton. And you should give your perspective on what happened to Travis Walton. You really, really should.
Right.
How
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, that's just something that I'm still getting used to. Because we're still pretty small. I'm still getting used to the idea that everybody, I mean, all of the channels that are, in the same genre can tell the same story. And so I will think, well, I'm not going to do that story because it's been done a million times. I can't get used to the fact that, no, I have a base of people who want to hear me tell the story.
Yep.
And that's just kind of a strange perspective that I haven't gotten used to yet.
That's the strangest thing about this YouTube, I guess, influencer is what it will be called, kind of job. It's the transition in your mind to understanding that people want to actually hear what you have to say, and that there's a group of people who respect your opinions on things.
Yep.
That's kind of freaky and weird. It took a long time for me to adjust to that. Took a long time for me to adjust to it. Now, has it hit home yet with friends off of YouTube for you, where like some of your friends that are not normally associating with you with being like a YouTube influencer, has it hit their feeds yet? Any of them where they pick up the phone and be like, "Hey, I saw you on YouTube." Has that happened to you yet?
No.
Oh, buckle up your seatbelt, sister.
Yeah.
Buckle up your seatbelt.
I have a couple, very few family and friends who listen because they like the content. Mm-hmm. I haven't gone out to the rest of my family and said, you have to watch this, because, whatever. If they're not going to watch it naturally, then I'm not going to force them to watch it. So I haven't had anybody come up to me and say, oh my God, I just saw you. I haven't seen that yet.
Matt, this question. Have you went through, I'll tell you what I went through. So I remember when I decided to start this channel, we're sitting at Cigar Factory New Orleans. I'm sitting at a table full of dudes. We're drinking Mille Cow cognac. It's a cognac. We're drinking it, smoking cigars. And I said, man, I think I'm going to do a YouTube channel where I tell scary stories. And you're talking about all hardcore businessmen. One guy right now has the largest martial arts school in Louisiana. Another guy has one of the biggest private wealth funds. And we're sitting there smoking, and everybody looks at me. Man, you crazy. I said, bro, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. He's like, bro, you lost your mind. Time passes, and it's crazy. It starts showing up in their feeds, like just recently. Shannon Sharp and what's this other guy? Shannon Sharp and somebody after the Cat Williams interview is going crazy, and then I start getting phone calls. I said, bro, I was watching Shannon Sharp talk. And I'm scrolling through the shorts, and I saw your black ass on one of the shorts. I'm like, yeah. This is crazy, bro. I'm gonna call you back. Said, bro, this got 500,000 views. This got this. And it's funny because none of these people are interested in the paranormal. They have zero interest in it. But it's starting to hit that point to where they're starting to see it. So I'm just telling you, prepare yourself, because that's where you headed. It starts to hit.
I hope so.
People from high school trying to reach out to you on Facebook. Girl, what are you doing? What is this? It's insane. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. So what about out of all these topics that you've been discussing, I noticed you've been doing some Dogman content. Where do you stand on the Dogman thing as itself? I'm not talking about the flesh and blood versus the spiritual aspect. Like, where do you stand on the origins of Dogman? Like, where do they come from? How they got here? Where do you stand on that after your research?
You know, I think my personal jury is still out on Dogman. I mean, I'm from Minnesota. We have a family cabin up north that is like square in Squatch country. You know, I think the Squatch capital of Minnesota is like an hour away or something. And I, you know, through enough stories and enough accounts, I've come to the conclusion that there's too much out there for Bigfoot not to be real. So I'm in the Bigfoot camp. Dogman, and I say this with, you know, I've got one video where we found 3 or 4 stories from Danbury, Wisconsin. So I mean, it's like Dogman Central. That's only an hour away from me. That's closer than the Squatch country at my cabin. So there's plenty of accounts of that as well. Why personally I have a little harder time with that one, I don't know. But I'm starting to move Dogman into the same camp of there's too many accounts to have it not be real. I mean, even if 90% of the accounts out there are crap, that leaves 10%, and that 10% turns out to be a fairly sizable number.
A huge number.
Yeah. So not everybody can be lying. I just refuse to believe that, you know? So Dogman is getting a little closer to that camp where it's just, there's just too much out there to believe that it can't be true. You know?
No, I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you. I started off saying it was a whole bunch of BS. Because like growing up in New Orleans, everybody hears about the rougarou, right? But the traditional rougarou is a person who converts, it's like a werewolf. Person who's cursing and converting to a werewolf. So everybody's heard about the rougarou, right? But when I started hearing about Dogman, I was like, this can't be real. This cannot be real. And so let me go find out. And man, did I find out real quick that it's real. And then when you start talking to eyewitnesses and you kind of can wiggle through the stuff that's BS and get to the truth, when people started having like meltdowns on the phone, crying for like 30 minutes, telling their encounters, I'm like, no, you're not lying about this. You can't act this well. You know, you're not Jennifer Lopez, you're not Brad Pitt, you are not acting like this, you are terrified out of your mind. And then when the description started coming back very consistent, I was like, oh no, this Dogman thing is super duper real. It's super duper real.
One of my favorite videos that we did was we did it not too long ago. I heard the story from another channel. And I heard this guy tell the story, and it took him like an hour and a half to tell the story. And it wasn't the detail that convinced me. It was just how disjointed and how he told it, how a normal person would think in kind of a disjointed manner. I thought there is no way that this guy's lying. There's just no way, you know? And then also, I just recently saw the full interview of Joe Barger and his Michigan account. And I'm hoping to get a hold of him very soon to see if I can tell his story. Because that was another one. I saw his interview and I'm like, there's no way. There's no way that guy's lying. No.
And that's one of the things about the eyewitnesses. Like when I get eyewitnesses who call me and their story is so succinct, it's like A plus B plus C plus D equals this. I'm like, bro, you spent a lot of time thinking about this, but this is not true. But when they start telling their story and their jump, this is why my stories end up being this way, because when a person's telling you a true encounter, they jump around as the events are taking place. So they're not going to tell you in sequential order. They tell you based on their emotions and what scared them the most. So they'll start off saying, well, the first time I saw it, it was standing outside the house and it was nighttime and it had these amber eyes. And then all of a sudden their mind flashes to when they had an encounter in the woods. You got to literally drag that person back to the beginning,
right?
Start all over. And that's how you can tell what's real versus what's fake. When it's in this linear order, it's, it's not real. Like people who listen to Vic Conner, if you listen to Vic shows, a lot of his eyewitnesses are kind of bouncing around as they tell their story because they're recanting and retelling that encounter. They bounce from this portion to that portion to this portion to that portion. And the host's job is to try and keep them wrangled in and bring all the information up. And so that's how you can tell, man. It's really, really that simple. And I find it amazing that over the time period, it's thousands of eyewitnesses. I mean, it's probably in a 10,000 range. When you look at all the Dogman channels with all the different eyewitnesses, it's 10,000 some people. And that's a small sample because those are only the people who want to talk. And I say all the time, if you threw out 50% of that and then extrapolated it back out towards the people who don't want to talk, there's a lot of people who've encountered this. Absolutely. Next question. So you have land in Bigfoot country. Have you had any encounters with Bigfoot? Any weird or strange thing that happened?
I have not, which is weird. Having a channel about the strange and mysterious, I have had exactly 0 strange and mysterious encounters in my life. 0, absolutely none. And I'm not sure that I really want any, to tell you the truth. No, exactly. It would just rock my world a little too much.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. As a person who's had every kind of encounter you can think of, from dealing with witches to dealing with evil spirits to dealing with friends who went into practicing dark magic, I would, if I could rewind time and put like a barrier around those things and not encounter those things, I'd be the happiest man on the planet, because that stuff is horrific.
That just means that you and I are going to have to sit down with a cigar and a glass of cognac off camera sometime so you can tell me, because now I got to know.
No, absolutely. When I tell you, girl, I've had some crazy stuff. If one of my sons were here, they would tell you there was a time period where crows, I'm talking about murders of crows, would swarm where we live. And I'd be sitting out there smoking a cigar, and you just womp, 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 and they'll just move and they'll go to another location. I remember I walked over one day and there's this guy washing a car, and these crows are over his head, and he's just washing the car. And you can look at him and tell. So I'm like, why are these crows here? And I walk over and I look, and he's washing his car and he's looking up. And I walk up to him. I said, bro, you all right? He said, yeah, man, but I don't know what's going on. These crows are here. I said, well, that's a very, very bad sign. Let me say a prayer with you. So I pray with him. And within 10 seconds, these crows do like this. They shoot like that away. And he's standing there. He says, dude, what happened? I said, bro, you about to die. I said, what kind of stuff you got going? He goes on and tell me the story about how he hurt somebody. I'm not going to go all the, but there were people looking for him because of what he did. I said, yeah, bro, you was about to die. And I said, all them crows was coming to let you know that something's about to happen. And about a week later, he just knocks on my door. He's like, Mr. James, hey, man, I just wanted to come tell you thank you. I said, no, it's all good, bro. He said, because, man, I really realized that something was about to happen to me. I said, yeah, you need to stop doing what you're doing. Whatever you're doing, you need to stop, dude. And I mean, when I tell you I've had crazy stuff, man, I've had absolutely insane stuff. It's a blessing and a curse at the same time, but I've had some insane stuff. All right.
That now, I can imagine.
During the pre-interview, you were talking, and I like the approach that you took. You said, I'm just a regular person. I'm a mom from Minnesota. So how do you balance off family life with paranormal life? That has got to be one hell of a task as a mom. Like as a dad, you can kind of throw stuff off on mom and let her deal with kids. And how do you balance it all? Because that's a lot.
Well, the balance isn't very good right now. I mean, my husband and I both work full time. And we also homeschool our son. Now, we both work from home most of the time. So dad gets most of the homeschool responsibility and the house responsibility. And I get the other full-time responsibility and the channel responsibility. Well, the creative part of the channel. He's the manager of the channel. So he does all the posting and all that kind of good, and the tagging and all the behind the scenes stuff. I'm the one that picks the stories and writes the stories and shoots them and edits them. All the creative side is me. But unfortunately, that's the time consuming side. So right now, until we can get big enough that we can make this a full-time gig, there's not a whole lot of balance. So the only blessing is that because we homeschool my son, he can come in and say hi to me or tell me that he's having a problem with his math or something like that at any time. So I can see him throughout the day. I'm not gone from the house 16 hours a day. I'm always here. I'm just always working at this point. So,
but it's a team effort in a household, which means you guys are going to be super duper successful. I mean, just having a house on one accord, you guys, no, I'm telling you, you guys are going to be super duper successful because it's a team effort. So the whole burden is not on one person. That's awesome, man.
No,
that's super. I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm telling you, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead on over there and subscribe and show the woman some love, because you see, she's a mom from Minnesota and she's busting her behind to make it happen. So subscribe. Don't be funny acting. Y'all know how y'all act sometimes. Y'all funny. Y'all want to watch people content that y'all don't want to subscribe. I don't like to stop being jerks. Go subscribe. All right. You ain't even got to even say I sent you over there. Just subscribe. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I think it's amazing to take advantage of the opportunity that's laid before you. Like, there's this thing in the cryptid field. Don't comment on this. I'm gonna say this because I don't want nobody to mess with you. There's this thing in the cryptid field where cryptid people in this field, in this genre, should not be able to sustain a living from being in this genre. And that's the reason why the actual information from the people who are in it never gets out there. So, for example, this is why I love Tony Merkel so much. Tony went to the woods, did a documentary about Dogman, put the documentary on Amazon. He's done another documentary, put it on Amazon. So you have somebody who's from our community and in the grassroots of the community rising to a position where he's controlling the narrative, as opposed to like somebody from Hollywood making up something. And that's what has to happen for the grassroots people to actually take the proper places where the information gets out. And I think that's what you guys are going to end up being. I can see it, and it's a wonderful thing, but just keep at it. I'm telling you, keep at it, because your content is phenomenal. All right, let's go on to a couple more things. So you were telling me that you were inspired by Mr. Ballin, which first of all, Mr. Ballin is dope. You don't get him, and How to Hunt are two of the dopest creators that there are out there. I'm gonna tell you, I love How to Hunt because it's just down home demeanor where it's just like, this is what it is. I don't care what you got to say. This is what it is. And then Mr. Ballin has this pizzazz to him. When I first saw him, I was like, who the hell is this dude? And I watched, I was like, this dude is pretty damn dope. Who is this dude? Yeah. And that's when he first started. The next thing, pew, it was off to the races. What about him inspired you the most?
Just the way he told his stories. I mean, first, the subject matter was totally in my interest wheelhouse. It's just strange, dark, and mysterious, so the content was there. And then just the way that he tells it, like he's the guy at your party with the beer in his hand telling the story, which is, obviously why the millions of people who subscribe to him because they like that method of storytelling as well. But yeah, it just totally hooked me in.
And what I like about him is you can tell he's actually been that guy with the beer in his hand, telling a story at the party. That you can tell that's just who he is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's nothing stiff about it. It's just like, hey, let me tell you a story. Boom, 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 boom. I think it's absolutely phenomenal and amazing. And I always feel like you should pay honor to people who've accomplished things and they've blown up. And I just think it's amazing what he's done. And he's an inspiration for a lot of people in this field. And it's those people who inspire others to come in that open the doorway for all of us. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is, and that's something that has to be done. Now, I want to know where the name came from. Where did you get the name from? Why did you choose this particular name for the channel?
The In Between?
Yeah, why did you pick the In Between?
It was just the name that we liked. when we, like I said, this is not our first channel. We started other channels before. So when we decided to start this one, we had more information. We're like, okay, we know that if we're going to start a channel, you need to figure out what the name is going to be. What is the subject matter? There's planning that has to be done when you start a channel. So when we decided, let's start a channel, and we started planning, we're like, okay, what are we going to call it? And we each, and this is my husband and I, each made a list of names, titles that we thought were cool. And we just merged the two lists and kind of picked them off until we found the one that we both liked. And it just seemed to kind of fit the vibe that we were going for. And yeah, we just liked it. And it was because it was going for the vibe that we wanted. It's the in between. It's not any one particular thing. It's between reality and fantasy, or non-reality, or normal and paranormal. It's riding that line of is it true? Is it not true? I mean, I want the stories on my channel to be true stories, because those are the ones that scare me the most. But, truth be told, more than half of them sound fake because they're just crazy. So it's that line between, is it true or is it not true? The number of people that put in the comments, are these true stories or are you making these up? It's like, okay, we're hitting that in between. You don't know. It's that mystery. That's what we were going for.
That's why you guys are going to be successful. Like, I'll say this. Like, when I talk to the average person who comes on YouTube, they just got inspired in a moment and they just picked a name and they just went on YouTube. They didn't do any research. And you'll notice they get trapped because they haven't done any of the research to actually be successful. That's where a lot of the beef in YouTube starts, is because you have people who want to be successful and they haven't done, it's called lazy successful people. They want to be successful, but they're lazy, so they don't do the work. But you can always tell the person who's done the upfront work to make sure that they have built the brand out. They're actually branding and then moving forward, building that brand. And I know it seems like a weird question to ask, but I ask that question because that's one of the things that I noticed about you guys. Like, from background, everything is literally on point with the studio, everything. And so you can't help but blow up. I mean, you really can't. I mean, the more I hear about you, the more I learn, you just can't help but blow up. And I'm excited. I'm super duper excited about it. I really, really do. All right, let's get into some creepy things. I'm thinking,
okay,
let's shoot. I'm gonna shoot some questions at you. The first thing that comes to mind, you tell me.
Okay.
Giants. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say giants?
When you say giants, I'm sorry, you went out. I lost you.
Giants, yes.
Trolls. I mean, if we're doing word association, we just saw that movie not too long ago on Netflix. It was a fun movie. It was a very fun movie.
Yeah. What about missing people?
411. There are so many just weird. And for me, the missing, missing hikers in the parks and whatnot. And obviously a lot of credit goes to David Paulides, because he has pulled a lot of these stories together, but it's falling into that same kind of thing of they can't all be explained. I don't know if you know the Missing Enigma. He does he's got a great channel on missing people, missing 411 things. And he did a video not long ago where he went through 3 stories of people who had just totally vanished, absolutely vanished off the face of the earth. They're totally missing 411 stories. And within the next year, several months to a year, they were all found under weird circumstances, but completely natural circumstances. So he's, bringing up the point with that they're not all paranormal. But with that in mind, if you do that, if you play that numbers game again, they can't all be natural. They just can't. Tom Messick disappearing in the forest. I mean, I could probably come up with a few other ones too, but there's too many to not have something going on, whether it's a portal or whether it's, taken out by Bigfoot or Dogman or something. Something's got to be going on.
Something
and
strange.
I just think that's, yeah, and that's fascinating.
No, I think so too. Next one. This is a good one.
Okay.
What's the name of the damn submarine? Oh my goodness, I just had it. Never mind, we skipped the submarine because I can't remember the name of it. The Miami alien, the Miami Mall incident. What did you think about that? What comes to mind when you think about that?
I gotta call hoax on that one. I gotta. The video that they show outside doesn't show anything. I saw some videos taken from inside that really didn't show anything. Now, I will say the number of police cars out there does not fit the explanation that the police gives. You gotta be kidding me. So I don't believe the official line. I don't know what was going on. I haven't seen anything that I can say, okay, I can buy into the alien line. Not on that one.
I couldn't buy into it either. I was just like, I'm like, okay, we got a lot of police cars. Awesome sauce.
Yes. Yes.
I could see a terrorist attack, maybe. I could see that. That makes sense. But when you really look at the videos, and then you look at the other videos with people running away, I was like, all right, where's the alien? There's too many people. Where's the alien? You know what I'm saying? In this modern day and age where everybody has one of these phones, there's no way that, and people were saying that like in the mall, they were capturing people when they came out. I saw a whole bunch of little black teenagers running. You weren't catching none of them because them is track stars. You weren't about to catch them and say, give me your phone. They ain't stopping for you. So I don't understand. I didn't understand. I was like, okay, somebody got the video of this alien. So I just started looking. And when it talks about the black community, when you talk about the black community and the paranormal, if we see something freaky and we got it on camera, you gonna know about it. Same thing that happened with Blue down in Florida. When Blue saw the Dogman in his backyard, you knew about it. Because he was like, oh my Lord, slammed the door, and he started saying songs. Like, we just dramatic like that. You gonna know about it. And when I didn't see any videos, I'm like, all right, man, this here is a hoax. This got to be a hoax. Or maybe it's a cover-up and the alien is a distraction. So maybe somebody was running to the mall shooting at people. I don't know. But it just didn't make any sense to me. Because somebody's gonna have some footage. And talking about busy mall and nobody had nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I don't buy it.
And I'm a firm believer that when you're scared, you're not going to record stuff. Now, I don't want to sound hypocritical to the people listening. When you're afraid, you're not necessarily going to record. But somebody out of those thousands of people would have had something recorded. Even if it would have been them running like this with the camera recorder, or somebody hiding behind a counter doing, somebody would have did something. And I just didn't get it. Or somebody,
does the mall not have closed circuit TV? Where are the CCTV cameras? Where's that footage?
Yeah, I'm with you. Or somebody would have been on Instagram real quick or on TikTok saying, yeah, I was at the mall and they had these monsters in the mall. Y'all, girl, you should have seen this monster. Nobody did that. I didn't see it.
There were a couple, or there were maybe a couple of YouTube shorts or something, but then those people came back and recanted their story. They're like, I was just making it up. Okay. So there goes that, can't trust that account if the guy's going to come back and recant. And it wasn't like, they're not like, I didn't see what I told you, like the FBI or somebody's standing right next to him making him say that. That wasn't it. They're sitting on the couch going, I made it all up.
Now, I'm going to tell you the one that got me. Remember the guy, I think his name was Andrew Dawson, the guy who found that recorded the Giants, and he came back out? That dude looked like he was scared for his life when he started. I was like, okay, now, boy, you done stumbled upon something, and them people over there by you talking to you because he was like, I was like, yeah, somebody got a gun on this man. This man is scared, you know. And I didn't see that with anybody else, you know. I just didn't see it. Now, when I saw that, I said, yeah, they done did this boy something. Something happened.
Well, and then his next video that he put out was him like walking around and playing with his hat, saying, "Dude, I totally saw that. You know, I saw what I saw," and it was one of those. Okay, this guy can't be lying, in my opinion. You know, just the way he was saying it and the way he was fidgeting with his hat. It was all like too normal. To things that you would do when you were really scared. Now, unless he was having some psychotic break, obviously that's always a possibility. But I don't think he was lying. I don't know what he saw, but I don't think he was lying.
Nah, I'm gonna tell you, from talking to the best Dogman eyewitness we have down in Florida, talking to Blue, when they are afraid, you cannot hide. I mean, that man down in Florida was scared for 12 months. He was afraid. I'll call him, Blue, what's up, man? DW, I'm not going outside. Why not? Because them things is out there. And he'll send me a picture and you zoom in. He called it zooming in. He said, zoom in. And you'll zoom in and you'll see a wolf head with both of the glowing eyes low to the ground. Like, man, you'll be all right. I'm not going outside. Dead serious.
I don't know that story.
Huh?
I don't know that story. I feel like I'm missing a big puzzle piece here, but I don't know.
So it was Fort Pierce, Florida, 2 years ago. This guy named Devarius Stubbs, the nickname is Blue. He opens his back door on Facebook Live. He's been seeing Dogman and Bigfoot on the backside of the property. He actually lives in a project. On the backside of the projects, he's been seeing it. And so he's telling his Facebook followers, hey, you know, I've been seeing these things out here, and everybody's saying he's lying. So he opens the door, and this thing runs across the screen, and it's as tall as a telephone pole, a light pole, and it just runs across, and he slams the door, and he's like, oh my God, it was live on Facebook. I mean, caught live on Facebook, and it went viral. He ended up doing like 5 TV shows on it. Just the best Dogman footage we've ever had. I mean,
I think now that you say that, I think I may have seen like a short or something on that, because that sounds familiar. But obviously, that's a story I got to dig into.
Oh, you definitely. If you want to talk to him, I'll give you his number. I love Blue. Blue is the coolest dude on the planet. I mean, he is the coolest. Oh, he's amazing. And it was full in line with what every witness encountered. So he had his encounter. Days later, he was having shadow people in his house. Days later, he got sick and went and almost died in his house.
Oh my God.
After that, he started having problems with his neighbor. He just had this run of bad luck after that encounter that was completely ridiculous. Then when you talk to the other people in this project, it's the project, the rest of the people over there, it was other people seeing it, but they didn't want to talk about it. Like there was another gentleman that I talked to. I don't know if that's the right term to use, but gentleman that I talked to that saw it sitting on this rock. And he was like, I don't want, this is exact words. He says, James, I don't want those people that came over here in the white cars to give me any problems. And so I was like, okay, give me other people's numbers in the area and let me find out if this white car thing is true. And I was like, look, I can pay you to just put me in contact with somebody. So I gave $100, gave me 3 more numbers. I say, hey, all I want to know is there have been white cars in the area. Oh, hell yeah, they got white cars over here every day. All right, cool. And so, it's the most profound Dogman encounter there is with the most video footage period. And there's another one where there's this guy who was walking his dog out towards the backside of his property, and you see it run across the screen. But if you don't know that's Dogman, then you don't know. It just looks like a giant shadow. But when you slow it down, you see the ears, you'll see everything. But you got to go frame by frame because that's how fast they are. It's ridiculous how fast these things are. It's totally ridiculous.
Wow.
That's why.
That's another thing that's so interesting is that there is so much. I mean, on the rare occasion that I'm trying to figure out what the next video is going to be, and I go, oh God, for a split second, I'll feel like I'm running out of material. And then I stop and think for a moment. It's like, no, I'm never going to run out of material. There's so much weirdness out there that, big things happen that I haven't even touched after almost 2 years. I haven't even touched on. I mean, there's
Oh
so many
no,
stories
it's
out there
crazy.
I've never heard of. It's
Let
crazy.
me see something. I'm gonna do something that I'll never do. Let me see if I get this other phone to plug up, and I'm gonna see if I can call Blue and get you hooked up while we live. But this battery's got to connect to this phone. But I mean, you
but
really
okay, hang on for a second, because of how busy and stuff I am, I'm like not in a place where I can like interview people. You know what I mean?
don't be scared.
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. Don't be scared. This is what we do. Do not
I
be
don't
scared.
even know what to do with this.
Yeah, don't be scared. It'll be all right. Let me see if I can get this, because this phone is broken, and I have a phone that's broken that has all my contacts in it. I don't even know if it's gonna pop on.
You have all your contacts on a phone?
Yeah. I have.
Yeah.
So I'm notorious for dropping cell phones. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 phones here. I have my original phone from when I ran my construction company with all of my friend contacts in it from like business.
Right.
That when I turn on when I need to call somebody. Then I have the paranormal phone, which is where people call me. Then I have my regular phone. Then I have my other paranormal phone where all the contacts from people in the paranormal field is. I'm retarded like that. I probably should just like transfer them all over, but I like this management system, because what ends up happening when something happens to a phone, like this new phone, I put everybody contact in there. I have a backup that I just need to charge up, and it's there. So terrible system. Doesn't make sense, but it works for me. It's kind of like hanging the clothes on the back of the chair instead of putting them in a hamper. I'm sorry. That's just what it is.
I would suggest that you put a backup on the cloud somewhere, just in case
I'm a
phones
lazy.
fail, you know?
Mm-hmm. I'm a little lazy. You're right. You're 100% right, sister. I'm just retarded like that, I guess. I do things bad. Let's see. All right, let me stop messing around. Let's go on to the next subject. All right, so we talked about some kind of we got on Blue. I don't know how we got there. Me running my mouth. Let's play another word association. How about the rake? What comes to mind when you hear of the rake?
The rake, man, you know, you talk about the rake and pale crawlers, and some people call them just white humanoids. They're just, you can maybe even throw skinwalkers into that. They're just like this almost ambiguous cloud to me that I have a hard time telling one from the other.
Mm-hmm.
The rake just feels like, and this is just the way I feel about it. I totally get that this is my personal opinion. The rake just feels like kind of like in the Slender Man category.
Creepypasta feels like, yeah.
Creepypasta, urban legend. It's newer. It's not so much behind it. You know, bring me some more beef and maybe I'll start leaning in that direction. I mean, I'm happy to tell stories about rakes if they sound like they come from somebody who's telling the truth. I'm happy to tell the story, but I personally, I don't think I can buy a rake quite yet.
And you know, when I think about rake, I feel like it's a spinoff of the real thing, which is the pale humanoid creatures. It's a spinoff that's been kind of marketed. Well, it's been categorized for marketing kind of that way, but it's based on something true. I'll never forget. I probably shouldn't tell this story. No.
Why?
Last time I told this story, I'm gonna tell it. So there's this woman I talked to about 5 years ago. She calls me and she tells me about this night of hell that she was having encounters with in her bedroom with her and her daughter. Her and her daughter are in the bed laying down. She has all the lights off. And she kept on feeling the covers being tugged by her feet. And she was like, DW, I felt like something, you know how you feel the air under the cover? Like when you'll feel like air is coming in by your feet. She said, I kept on feeling like air was coming in by my feet. And but I knew my cover was tucked under the mattress. She said, I thought it was weird. She's like, so I click on the light and I try to go back to sleep with the light on. She says, well, she's woken up because she feels tugging on the cover. And when she looks at the foot of the bed, she sees this humanoid thing with these long claws, like long fingers and claws climbing up towards the bed to reach and grab her daughter, which was laying in the bed with her, but its head was flipped upside down. So like flipped up like that. And it was pale and it had sharp teeth. And the head had like what looked like bones that were a crown on it. And I'm like, huh? She's like, yeah. And I'm flabbergasted when she's telling the story. And I said, okay, let me talk to your daughter. And so I started talking to her daughter, and she says, yeah, there was something, Mr. James, that was pulling on my leg. And I pulled, she was describing how she was pulling her legs back. And she said it had an upside down head with a crown of bones. I was like, holy crap. So I'm thinking that when people talk about the rake, they're talking about these kind of humanoid, nasty, monstrous creatures. It's just been marketed as the rake. Now, let me say this. Jesus, cover everybody who's heard this story, because the last time I told the story, people's lights started going off. I did it live on an interview. People's lights started flickering. All kind of crazy stuff happened during that interview when I told that story. And that's how I knew it was something really evil. But I think that's kind of where the rake comes from. Those humanoid hellion things is where they get the legend of the rake from. That's what I think. But I think it's kind of marketed. It's easier to name it the rake. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a rake, and you can just put anything under that, and it kind of is a bucket that everything captures it under. Yeah. So I think
or the experience is the same thing that people have been experiencing for a while, but the rake is like the new urban term that they've heard. So they just put the new term on the old experience.
On the old experience. You know? That's what I think it is. All right, let's see. Rakes. Let's go to the Las Vegas UFO encounter. I know you saw that. What did you think about that one?
That was pretty good. I have not, it's a kind of amazing. I have not done, outside of touching on UFOs as a part of a different story, I have not done a real UFO story yet. But because I don't know about UFOs. And I have an uncle who said that he saw one. But that Las Vegas footage was very convincing. That was very credible to me. Because it was just a bunch of people with their phones going, look what we're seeing. You know, it's like, and I'm assuming that we're talking about the same one where you could see the lights bouncing off of it on the bottom and stuff like that. That's just crazy. I don't know. In general, I think that we're not alone. And as a skeptic who's good at math, as soon as when I was a kid, I heard of Drake's equation. And are you familiar with Drake's equation?
I'm familiar with it.
Okay, so I can't even tell you exactly what it is, but you know, given there's this many, I don't know, universes, and inside that, even if only 10% of those universes had a solar system like ours, and if only 10% of those solar systems had, you know, blah, 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 all the way down, and the number that you get to at the end is still so astronomical, astronomically high. I'm like, okay, we can't be the only life out there. So I do believe that there is stuff out there. And again, a numbers game. There are far too many people who have seen it and have reports, including family members, that they can't all be lying. They just can't, you know? I just refuse to believe that. So I think they're out there. I've never seen one. Actually, my husband has, though. Well, he saw something that he reported to MUFON. He won't say that it was a UFO because he doesn't know. Because he's more skeptical and precise than I am. But yeah, I see things like the Las Vegas footage and I'm like, it's gotta be.
No, I got
where is it? You know?
Something's there. And I'll tell you, I did an interview. I try to do interviews with people who are in the science community and the cryptozoology community that are academics. And what I find is that when you start talking to the true academics, so there's this divide between us who are, I don't want that cigar. I don't want that on the ground like that. That sucks. When you do the conversations between the academics and us who are like on the side of believers or wanting to believe, there's an in-between space. Wow, look how I did that. There's an in-between space where you come to realize that those who are in academia, they know that this is true. They know that these things are there. Their concern is their credibility. So they'll push it all the way to the edge, and then they won't agree with you on anything. But they'll tell you, oh, yeah, there's a possibility. But they won't just tip over because they know that their credibility is at stake. And so they're careful about what they say. The more I started talking to people in the scientific community that were true academics are, yes, right word, academics, I realized these people know exactly what's going on. They know exactly what's going on, but it's not in their best interest to always disclose everything that's going on. And they're very careful about how they do it. So they do it in a roundabout way. They'll say, you know, it's based on this equation, we have to have life. They'll say, well, we found water on Mars. And like, yeah, okay, so that means there's some life on Mars if there's water on Mars. Right? Yeah. And they'll explain these things to you. So there's definitely something out there.
I think so. Well, they see the same things that we see. You know, they're on YouTube. They see shorts, so they see the same things that we see. But when you're talking about, you know, if you are out there on the fringe, that means no funding. That means no job. You know, that's a very really powerful motivator, and I can't fault them for that. You know, I mean, that's one of our basest instincts is our own self-preservation. You know, so I don't blame them for not wanting to put their jobs and their careers in jeopardy for spouting what they see is true, you know.
Well, it's even simpler than that. I don't blame them for not putting their credibility on the line for somebody else to get views. And when you really look at it that way, that's what it is. So it's like, okay, you are monetizing my credibility. I've had this, like when Kerry Arnold, God bless his soul, before he passed away, Kerry caught that Bigfoot called Banner, which, I mean, it was the clearest picture of Bigfoot I ever seen. I did a whole run of interviews with cryptozoologists. The whole purpose of it was to show his evidence. So I showed every last one of them his evidence. I'm talking about, if I had the photo, I don't think I have it anymore, and I showed it to you, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's a Bigfoot right there. You can see his face. It was green. You can see the eyes. You can see the nose. You can see the hair. All of them said, oh, I don't see it. I was like, huh? You don't see that thing right there? No, that's not conclusive enough. That's when I realized, okay, this is about funding. It really is about funding. Now, I say that to the audience to say this. When you have guys like me, you have Carol Ann, you have Tony Merkel, this is why your support for people is so important. Because the truth that you say you want to get out is not going to come from the academics, because it's a risk to them. So the truth that you want to see get out is going to come from people like us. And so your support is very, very important. If that's what you say you want, then your support is extremely important, because they're not going to do it, because it's a risk to them and their future. So I'm saying that to y'all so y'all understand why you have to support your creator. So, for example, Tony just did a documentary. Everybody needs to be going over supporting. If it's 99 cents, buy the documentary. Because what you're doing is you're elevating somebody who will carry the truth out there, and they'll get to the point to where they're in the room with the academics, and then you have a voice in that room. If you censor the voices that are needed to be in the bigger, larger conversations, then you don't have any representation. And that is the true challenge of this field. You know, whether it be Bigfoot, whether it be Dogman, whether it be aliens. Think about it. Like there's MUFON that, if I'm not mistaken, they've petitioned Congress before for things. I mean, you take that away, that group away. Where's the UFO movement if there's no MUFON? You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Yep. Very well said. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's why we have to be conscious as creators and members of the audience that there's a large goal. If you want truth, then you have to participate to get the truth out. So again, make sure you subscribe to Carol's channel so you can push things forward and help her get out there. Don't be a sucker. Help the lady get what she needs to get to. All right.
Thank you.
Let's see. We touched on aliens. We're going to circle back.
Okay.
Let's go to creepy clowns. What comes to mind when we talk about creepy clowns? I know what comes to my mind.
It.
Shoot them.
It.
The movie It?
Yes. Yes. I for years, my mom would buy me the latest Stephen King novel for Christmas every year. So I read it when it first came out. And it was
Really?
just like, oh my God. Yeah, of course. Of course.
I
It's creepy.
I
It's
cannot stand that
scary.
movie, and I cannot stand clowns. I hate clowns. Ever since I was a child, I have hated clowns. I remember I went to a birthday party where there was a clown there, and I had a butter knife because I was afraid of a clown. My mom was like, "What the hell are you gonna do with that butter knife?" I'm gonna stick it, mama. Sit your ass down. What are you talking about? I cannot stand clowns. I'm gonna stick it with
I
a butter
can do
knife.
Cirque du Soleil. I can do the Cirque du Soleil clowns. They're French. Okay. But no, any other clown? No. Nope.
All right, so now we're gonna swing. Let's let the audience get to know you a little bit better personally. What's your favorite TV show?
Oh my God, I haven't watched TV in so long. Used to be the X-Files because it was strange and mysterious. Well, yeah, I'm working. I don't have time to watch TV anymore. It's really sad, actually, because I like I was saying, there's so many stories that I don't even know about because since we started this channel, I've been working so hard on it. I don't even get a chance to go out into YouTube world and look for things anymore. It's kind of sad, but it was X-Files when I was a kid. What else was there? We actually just started watching Young Sheldon because that's a good family one that even my 10-year-old likes that one. So that's we just started that a few days ago and it's hilarious. I never watched The Big Bang, so I'm like, okay, should we watch Young Sheldon? And I think that kid is hilarious. I love it.
The real star of Young Sheldon is his sister. I don't care what anybody says. His sister is the star of the show. That girl is hilarious. She is the star of the show. People
she is, but I think it's the mom.
The mom too, yeah.
I mean, talk about your stereotypical Texas, don't mess with me, mom. I love it. Love her.
Well, people ask me all the time. They say, "Well, what do you watch?" I don't watch nothing paranormal. I watch Father Brown. If you haven't watched Father Brown, you should watch Father Brown. I watch Stargate SG-1 over and over and over again because I love
that. Was a good one. Yeah.
I actually met him at one of the what is it called? Comic Cons. I met
Richard Dean Anderson.
No.
Richard Dean Anderson? No.
No, not Richard Dean Anderson. The guy that plays Tilk. Oh my goodness, I got photos.
I don't remember his name either.
I met him at a Comic Con, and he was the coolest dude on. I was geeked out. I was nerded out because they had him like up there to take pictures. And it was me and Dave Schrader and a bunch of other people. And I was like, Dave, I'm going to get a picture with him. He's like, James, it's going to cost like $100. I don't care. I'm going to take a picture with him. And then I like swamp people. I love swamp people. And that's about all I watch. Because I can't do creepy for a living and then creepy in my pastime. I want to disconnect the two. I just can't do it. I absolutely.
Right. Well, okay. Hold on to Dave Schrader for a second. My other favorite TV show at the moment is The Great British Baking Show. So there you go. Totally it's about as far away from cryptids as you can get.
We're about to geek out. I love The Great British Baking Show. So
I love that show.
Which episodes have you been watching? The ones? See, this is gonna sound real insensitive. I started watching when they had the sister come on with the big old teeth that's always cracking the jokes. She kind of heavy set girl. I mean, when I tell you I love the British Bake Off show, I absolutely love it. I love how they have them baking, whether it's cold outside, whether it's hot outside. It could be cold, and it affects the cakes that they're making. And then I love how people get eliminated. What I don't get about guys, we're geeked out on this interview. I'm sorry, whatever it is, what it is. What I don't get about the show is this. I'm so competitive. Have you noticed how they like to help each other finish their projects? Like
that's part of what I love.
No, I'll be turning down people's ovens. I'll be doing all kinds of stuff to sabotage the people. No, I'm not doing it. You're going to lose. I'm winning.
No, that's why I don't watch. Well, okay. I don't watch reality TV in general since like the 3rd season of Survivor. Now, my sister-in-law is from Australia. I've been there a couple of times. I'm not an expert, but I got a general idea of the layout. And as soon as the third season of Survivor came on and they said, we have them out in the outback. But wait a minute, they're within a helicopter's ride to a hospital. You're not in the outback. You're not, forget it. Plus, I mean, I do actually have a background in TV production, like on the fringe edge, enough to know how reality TV is made, and it's not real,
Right.
But the other reason that I don't watch it, and I don't watch Big Brother or Survivor, and those, it's because they're so mean, and I don't want that. You know what I mean? I don't want that in my life. I want good and happy and positive vibes in my life. And I love the fact that on the baking show, they're helping each other. I'm done. I've done everything I can for myself to win. So now I can help you. I love that. That's the way it should be.
It's too nice. It's a competition. You're going to get the world's best bacon. No, they're too nice. And then I don't like how they start the show. You can tell they have favorites in the show. It's like they'll have a favorite baker up front. And I'm like, come on, man. Y'all can't be sure. And then I start rooting for the person that's their favorite to fail. And I'm sitting there talking to the people like, nah, y'all can't keep doing this. Like, that person is screwed up. They messed up the challenge. And then y'all just going to keep on encouraging them. While in the meantime, they got somebody else doing fantastic. It's just little stuff that I can tell that just bothers me. You know what I'm saying? It really does bother me. And guys, I know most of y'all probably don't watch the Great British Bake Off, but I mean, it's a phenomenal show. You should watch it.
Great.
I geek out over it all the time. And there should be more seasons coming soon, but I will sit there and watch it over and over and over and over again because it's awesome freaking TV. And it's good. Mindless.
It is. But my cake making ability has gone up a level or two since I've been watching it.
No, I don't try that. That'll end bad. That'd just be a big old mess. It would be a huge mess if I tried it. But I've learned a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like a ganache. Show them we're gonna make a ganache.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh, what the hell is a ganache? So I've learned what things are, but I'm not brave enough to try it. And I don't have the patience to try it. Like, I'll shortchange the recipe, put not enough flour, not enough water, not enough butter. So no, I'm just not.
I still couldn't tell you the difference between an Italian sponge and a Genoese sponge. Right. I have no idea. I was like, what's Betty Crocker? What kind of sponge is that? Because that's the only sponge I know. I don't know. But
I know what they just started watching the show about, what's the lady's name that was the mother of all cooking shows?
Julia Childs.
Julia Childs. There's an actual show. It's like a show about her life that's out right now. That's phenomenal. They went through how she started out. Yeah. How she first started out, and she was on an interview, and she was trying to figure out how she was going to do things. And she brought a hot plate in and made a guy omelet live on air, and just forced him to eat the omelet. I mean, it's a great show about Julia Childs. I think it's on Netflix. You will love that. You will love that. I'm sorry. Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen. See, we done got way off the topic of the paranormal. That's how I know it's time for us to end this interview, because we just talking about crazy stuff. So let's do this. Carol, tell everybody how they can find you and where they can find you, and then we're going to wrap it all up.
If you go to YouTube, it is at the INBETWEEN. Or if you have a story or experience that you want to email to us, it is inbetweentales@gmail.com.
Okay, awesome. So
we are on Facebook and we're on Instagram. And you know what? Sadly enough, I can't even tell you exactly what those addresses are, because that's in my husband's wheelhouse. But we are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. I'm sure if you look up INBETWEEN, one word, you'll more than likely find it. I hope. He's going to yell at me for that one.
They are social media geniuses. They shall find you if they need to find you. Trust me, they will. They absolutely will find you.
Most people are a level ahead of me on social media. I'm not very good at social media. I'm good at YouTube, TikTok, but not anything else.
Yeah, I just got my own TikTok, and I was like, okay, let me try TikTok. And I was just like, this is Chinese propaganda, but I'm going to get on it anyway and see what I can do. And so I've been
I haven't attempted Yeah, I haven't gone there yet because I'm like, okay, I can't even master the ones that we do have going. The last thing I'm gonna do is add something else. You know what I
Add more
mean?
work. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be down the road, I think.
Yeah. And it ends up being a little bit more work because now you got to learn the tags and this and that. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it, but I'm doing it anyway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the one and only James Williams, Dark Waters. Another great interview. I think we talked about a gambit of things, including cooking shows and everything else that you would love. And I'm telling you, if you don't watch the Great British Bake Off, you're missing out. But be on my team. I'm on Team Subversion. Turn the ovens off, put extra water, unplug the refrigerators and the freezers when they have their dough in there so somebody can win. Now, Carol's on the good side. She's like, yeah, everybody work together. No, let's destroy the people who are in the competition. That's where I stand. All right, guys, we are out here. Thank you, and we appreciate each and every one of you.
Thank you.